This is once again concerning acute water scarcity in the state of Tamil Nadu. Taps that have continued to run dry for weeks, but there are still many private players who are illegally making money off the persisting water crisis in the state. This case that is coming in from Tirumalisai, which is a town just close to the capital city Chennai. It's a fertile farmland that has plenty of groundwater, but it is being exploited by the water mafia. Private tankers that are purchasing about 13,000 liters of groundwater from farmers at a price of just 250 rupees per tanker. They go ahead and sell it for at least 8,000 rupees. When Mirror Now spoke to a landowner who is selling gallons of water for this paltry an amount, he replied saying that he is ready to sell water for the same price to the state government if only the state showed interest in regulating this water.
ஸோ இந்த நிலத்தை பற்றி சொல்லுங்கள். இங்கேருந்து எத்தனை வருஷமாக தண்ணி கொடுத்துட்ருக்குறீங்க? ஒரு லோடு தண்ணிக்கு எவ்வளோ காசு வாங்குறாங்க?
ஒரு லோடு தண்ணிக்கு 12,000 லிட்டருக்கு 250 ரூபா.
லோடுக்கு அவ்வளோதான்.
இப்போ தான் இந்த ஒரு 1.5 மாதமாக ஓடுது.
இங்கேருந்து ஒரு நாளைக்கு எவ்வளோ லோடி தண்ணி போகுது? இங்கேருந்து மக்கள் எங்கெல்லாம் கொடுத்துட்ருக்குறாங்க?
எங்கே எடுத்துகிட்டு போகிறாங்கன்றது பல இடத்துக்கும் போகுது. சிட்டியில் எங்கே சிக்கல் இருக்குதோ அந்த மாதிரி இடத்துக்குலாம் அவங்க சப்ளை கொடுக்குறாங்க. இங்கேருந்து போகிற தண்ணி எல்லாம் இது குடிக்கிற தண்ணி நல்லா இருக்கும்.
Okay, we're going to be playing out some bit more of that interaction in just a bit, but wanting to better understand on what exactly he stated here, Pramod, he's well aware of the fact on how illegal money is being made out of this water, on how it is being sold, bought from him at just 250 rupees, sold later in the city for 8,000 rupees in the face of this scarcity. How is he justifying this? What is he expecting from the government then?
Well, consecutively, the state government has failed in many aspects, starting from not maintaining water bodies or not allowing encroachment of water bodies. This is the last aspect. During the last moment when the people are struggling and striving for water, some people are making money out of it. Not just normal money, a huge, huge amount. Imagine if the government is ready to provide water for 1,750 rupees, only that the citizen has to wait from 7 to 15 days. A private tanker lorry can give it within 1 day. We just want to find out how is it that the private tanker lorries are able to provide it so quickly, and where do they have such a source? And then we found out that this one of the location is Tirumalisai, 19 kilometers away from Chennai, and inside a farmland there are such farmers who are providing water. He is very humble. He simply says that even if the state government approaches him, he will provide the water for the same amount. Imagine 13,000 liters of water for 250 rupees, and you just have to travel 19 kilometers up and down, probably 40 kilometers altogether, and even then the people are ready to pay, because where is 10,000 rupees and where is this amount? The only problem here is that the authorities that they are supposed to regulate, they are not anywhere to be found out, and that's why it seems like indirectly the government is supporting the mafia, unfortunately.
Right, and this is groundwater which is available close to the outskirts of Chennai, and the government has not tapped it, but the private tanker mafia is still active in the given area. Stay with us, Pramod. We're getting in a word here from activist Mr. Jayaram Venkatesan with us over the phone line. Thanks for being with us. We remember the first time that the Chief Minister had spoken about water shortage, in acknowledging that yes, there is a shortage in the state. He had very clearly stated that the water tanker mafia is not something that he would want to touch or disturb at the moment. Was that a sign of a go-ahead that this can continue?
Yes, this is primarily an effort to make sure that the politicians of, in fact, both the ADMK and DMK, who owns, most of this tanker businesses and so on, it is just to make sure that, they make a huge profit at the time of this kind of a crisis. So, the Tamil Nadu government, for example, withdrew the Groundwater Regulation Act in 2013 under the pressure from these private water tankers and other private players like, the water can suppliers and so on, primarily to ensure that they could draw as much groundwater as possible without any kind of regulation. The government withdrew it in 2013 on the promise that they will bring about a comprehensive Groundwater Regulation Act. But 6 years later, today, we are in a situation that there is no comprehensive Groundwater Regulation Act as promised by the government. So So the only act that regulates these people is the groundwater regulation under the Chennai Metropolitan Water Supply Act. And
right, but Jayaram, on what is happening, on what we're just reporting, what our reporter, my colleague Pramod, has also brought to the fore on how groundwater is continued to be tapped by the water mafia, but the government is not stepping in. If this is the same water that can be pulled out and withdrawn and provided to people at a much cheaper rate here, the government, do you feel that the government is looking away in giving a chance for this to flourish?
Yes, exactly. I mean, this is something that the government can do and should do. In fact, a recent RTI in one of the areas, they are giving us that they are supplying water every day to the tanks, in a place called Chinmayanagar. And what we found is that only once in 3 days, the water is being filled inside the tank. And when we ask the AE, the assistant engineer,
right,
he blatantly says, no, we fill it every day, whereas all the residents there keep saying that it comes only in once in 3 days. So this is happening right in front of our eyes, and the government on the other side is just allowing these private players to draw as much water as possible from all the outskirts and sell it at rates of somewhere around 7,000, 8,000, almost 10,000 even per tanker. And so this is, this is something that the Chief Minister must realize that, what this is going to ensure is that only people who have a lot of money can actually get water. Most of the others are going to have a huge suffering in terms of having access to water. We still have 3 or 4 months to go before the monsoon comes in. So the government has to step in immediately. The High Court has intervened. The High Court has asked the government, why are you allowing these private players to draw water from groundwater from there, so much? And what is that you are doing for this regulation? And the government has not done anything. So this is something the government must realize immediately, and there is absolute lack of political will even in this, in the middle of such a crisis. It's very, very sad.
Stay with us, Mr. Jayaram Venkatesan. We're getting in further inputs here. Our correspondent Pramod with those details. Pramod, in that interaction that you had with the private landowner here, he made it very clear that this is water which is available. It is going out to places where there is an absolute scarcity, and he would only be happy to provide it to the government if the government approached him.
It surely is, because imagine like we were able to be there for a very less period, a maximum of 10 to 15 minutes, because the lorry drivers over there became suspicious and we had to leave. But within that period itself, we saw a minimum of 10 tanks, most of the tanks waiting, and like once one of the lorry tank is filled, the other one comes in, immediately it gets filled, because like there is so much water over there. But where are the authorities? Where are the people who are supposed to go there and find out like they have water? Can they regulate it? We didn't see anybody like that. The farmer very clearly mentions that this is a way he's also earning money. Unfortunately, he says like during the summertime, he earns better money through this way than agriculture. And that's the reason like, he's opting for it. And he's ready. He says like, there is no regulation. The same amount of money the government is ready to pay, he will definitely give. But even after this, we do not see any kind of authorities at this location. We're talking about one location. There are plenty of locations of such kind around the city. And that is where the private tankers are getting the water from. Whereas the state government authorities are waiting to take water from stone quarries or like, from various other locations, trying to refine it and sell it. How are these areas, these water aquifers,
and the government trying to find out, or at least showing that they're finding out more solutions here to this?
Not exactly sure.
That's right. We also have Mr. Sarvanan of the DMK with us over the phone line. Thanks for being with us. Do you feel that this is a blatant looking away by the government, because this particular place that has been identified by my colleague Pramod here is just a few kilometers at the outskirts of Chennai?
Yeah, see, that's what we have been saying. The government is very lackadaisical. They don't want to curtail the tanker mafia or the people who are earning lots of money by selling this water. On the one hand, they say they are spending crores on water management and prevent the depletion of the water bodies, but no action on this. Still, even today, we have been speaking about this for the last almost 3 to 4 weeks. But even today, the same status quo is continuing. The government has not done anything to curtail the tanker mafia. Water is still sold, a tanker is still sold for 5,000 to 9,000 rupees, depending on how immediately you want it. The government is complicit in this mafia. Probably their own partymen are involved, and that is why they want to encourage this. They are actively encouraging this.
Right, stay with us please while we get in more voices and more inputs here. Our correspondent Pramod, who's been getting us those details here. Pramod, this was just one such place that you identified and recorded an interaction here. Would there be many such spots at the outskirts of Chennai where the tanker mafia, which is believed to be very powerful and is active openly in broad daylight, carrying on with this withdrawal of water?
Well, there definitely are, because the Chief Minister itself, almost 10 days back when he held a press conference, he mentioned that people are taking water from the areas around the city. They own their own land. They are taking water from there. Commercially, a private entity cannot sell water. But however, if the government wants to take actions on a war footing to provide water to the people, they can make a lot of regulations as well, which the state government, unfortunately did not do. If the Chief Minister knows that there are such places, he could immediately make some kind of amendments to make sure that the public gets water, and he could have some kind of deal that could be struck with the private entities. That was not done, and that's the reason. The biggest shock here is that when a private citizen had to wait 7 to 15 days for one tanker lorry of water, the same water is available the very next day for him if he's ready to shell out a lot of money, and the authorities who are supposed to regulate them, they are nowhere to be found. Where are the authorities? How are they allowing to do? Is this blatant corruption? No answers to all these questions.
Right, and when there was a very specific notice that was sent to the government from the court there, saying on what the government is doing about the tanker mafia, on how it is operative, what has been the response so far from the state government?
Well, the first time when the notice was issued was because a couple of concerned citizens near Nanmangalam area, they went ahead and filed a PIL claiming that water is being illegally tapped through borewell. We did find out after the case went to the Madras High Court, that was stopped immediately. But however, the lake, Nanmangalam, around that lake, people have dug wells close to 100 feet, not just to 50 or 20, but 100 feet. And they what they're trying to do, some people, is that late at night they were having pipes to the lake, and it's just 2-3 meters away from the lake, and they siphoned out water into the well, and from there they were selling it. No authorities were able to even find out. We reported on it almost 3 weeks ago, and no action on it so far. The unfortunate thing is that even the persons who are involved in it, they allege that they are from the same party which is ruling the state, and so they don't have to be afraid of anything. That is the most shocking part. Well, the Chief Minister says that he's taking all these actions. We have evidential proof how corruption and illegal activities are occurring, and even only after this, the Madras High Court went ahead. Now, since the state could not provide proper response, the Madras High Court has gone ahead, and it also included the Public Works Department Secretary, and in a later day, he's supposed to submit reports about the people.
That's right. From the sound of it here, Jayaram, on how this has played out as far as the courts are concerned, it seems that only the court could take the state government here to task, which continues to be in denial on several fronts of this crisis.
Yes. I think so. I mean, the only way that any kind of change that we could see is only through the courts. The courts should step in, make sure that they have asked the government, they have formed a committee to look at it and they come up with the report. But I don't see. But the point is, if they keep dragging on, also, it's going to take quite a few months before the court actually intervenes and stops this. So what we need is a very quick solution. So the court also should look at this on a very urgent priority basis and make sure that there is an immediate intervention from the court side, ensuring that the government follows some kind of regulations to ensure that they get as much water as possible, free of cost to the people in the city. And, we must remember that, this kind of a water tanker mafia, the people who are most affected by this is the people who are from the economically weaker sections, the people in the slums, because they cannot afford to buy water. And therefore, they are the most affected by inequitable distribution of water. And therefore, the
piped water that should be provided to each and every given area there in the capital city, other districts closer to Chennai which are facing this crisis here as well. Yes, please stay with us. One of our viewers calling in, Jaya from Mumbai. Please go ahead.
course, there is a nexus between the water mafia and the netas. It is obvious. The water mafia has no qualms about making a fast buck to provide the most essential commodity, that is water. The city of Chennai has had a perennial water problem, and now bought from nearby farms, water is purchased, sold at exorbitant rates in the city. Total apathy by the administration has led to this situation. They were busy fighting to retain their kursis. So no plan, no program, no systematic plan for water supply, no regulation whatsoever. Their palms are definitely greased. The administration should tap the source of the nearby farm supplies to the city. Don't they owe it to the people?
That's right. From your understanding, you say that it's certain that this is a nexus between the mafia and the government. The government continues to look away here. It has been taken to task even by the court, and it needs to respond here on that. We also have G. Sundarajan, activist, with us over the phone line. Thanks for being with us. This is once again a requirement of action to be taken against the government, because the government continues to give out a huge list of attempts that they're trying to make to resolve the crisis. But here is water that is available at the outskirts of the capital city and is being sold in the black market.
Yeah, see, now the government has spent a lot of money to bring water from Jayaram, which is already a water-stressed area in the Vellore district. We have been telling from day one that the tankers should be hired by the government, the Metro Water, and they should have a booking system where people can call only the Metro Water office for supply of water, and the tankers should be paid on a per trip basis or for per kilometer basis. So all the water bodies, water resources, everything should be owned by the government, so that these things don't happen. And this has come to the fore now. We have been telling from day one that this has been happening. And see how you see water is a basic problem. Water is not a commodity; it is a resource. So that resource has to be owned by the government. So you can tell the tanker people that those tankers will be hired by the government, and they will be paid per kilometer or whatever it is. But the water should be under the control of the government. The government should enter the contract with the private villagers or farmers, and take the water and distribute it to the public.
But Mr. Sundarajan, from the sound of it, do you think that the government here is interested in making that effort here? In that press conference also, about 10 days ago, the first time that the Chief Minister had spoken about the water crisis, he made it very clear that the water tanker system is something that is in place, and he would not want to interfere with it right now.
How will they do it? First, they have to accept that there is a problem. They are saying it's a water shortage, it's not a water crisis. So, you'll have to accept the problem first, then you will try to solving it. They need to first accept that there is a problem, that there is a water crisis. And citizens of the state are waiting in queues for hours together, having sleepless nights to bring water to their homes. The Chief Minister should understand that. And I strongly believe there is a strong nexus between the politicians and the water mafia, which makes them not to take. See, this is one very simple thing. I have not heard one report which says that the liquor factories have brought down their production, the aerated drinks factory has brought down their production, the mineral water companies have brought down their production. No, none of the places. Nowhere we are able to see such reports. Which means it's completely the water is being controlled by this mafia, tanker mafia, liquor mafia, whoever it is. So they are very clear in making this money, and I'm sure that since the politicians are also part of...
Right, that's an interesting observation that you've made, that it hasn't affected other related industries, manufacturing units as yet. Things are continuing, business that continues as usual. One final question here to our correspondent. Pramod, continuously as you've been getting in more details and speaking to people who are suffering from the water crisis, what is the latest word here that's coming from the government? The monsoon that has been delayed, does the government still continue to maintain that they have enough water till the month of November?
Well, it seems that the government is only trying to go through the long way to actually resolve the solution. For instance, like Soundarajan said, now they have decided to go ahead and bring in 10 million liters of water from a location called Jolapet, and for which each trip they have to pay the railways 8.6 lakh rupees, and they have allotted 65 crores for that alone. Imagine 19 kilometers from this area, there is water, and all the government has to do is regulate, find such aquifers and regulate the private entities, like, providing them some amount of money per kilometer for transportation alone. And the government is supposed to take the money. The farmers are willing to pay, willing to give them the water for the same amount, but still they do not want to do that, but go ahead and pay railways 8.6 lakhs to bring the water from Jolarpet, 10 milliliters per day, and to make sure, they are providing water. Not exactly sure what they are going to trying to do it over here, but it seems like the government is ready to pay extravagant amount of money to bring in water when there are easy solutions around. This is what the government has planned so far.
All right, Pramod, many thanks for getting us those details here. It has been made very evident here with respect to water that is available on the outskirts of Chennai, the government that continues to come up with fancy formulas which only means more expenditure, cost on the exchequer. The government intentionally that continues to look away from the tanker mafia which is operational, turning a blind eye here, making the people pay in thousands for water. This is inhuman, this is unfair. Thank you for being with us.